1:42:27, the fastest high school 800-meter time ever ran. If you look at how this race compares to other performances at 16, other boys would have to run times of 19.79 in the 100, 19.58 in the 200, and 43.7 in the 400. This even surpasses the NCAA record of 1:43:55 and would be tied for the 18th fastest 800-meter time ever. Now you're probably wondering just who ran this insane time. Well, let me introduce you to Cooper Lutkenhaus, one of the earliest track and field athletes to ever turn pro, at only 16 years old. In today's video, I'll be breaking down just how Cooper ran this time by going in depth into his workouts, his training style, and his tactics that led to this world-class performance. So stay tuned. But before we get into the technical aspects, it's time for a little background. Cooper Lutkenhouse was raised in a family full of athletes. In fact, both his parents were state qualifiers in Texas, and his brother Andrew even ran a PR time of 150 in the 800 meters at Nike Outdoor Nationals. So it's safe to say he was raised around running. In fact, as early as elementary school, Cooper was already practicing running the 800 through the warm-ups with his team that his dad coached at the time. After that, he would then go on to playing many different sports throughout his middle school career, before he would eventually pick up cross country and track in 7th grade. The times throughout middle school were already very promising, but it wouldn't be until the summer before his freshman career that Cooper decided he would be going all in for running. He would then begin to attend Northwest High School, which allowed him to take his time from an already pretty impressive 153 all the way down to 157 in only a year, establishing the new freshman record at the time. But this was just the beginning for Cooper, as a new coach, Chris Capeau, would begin training him. But this was no ordinary high school coach, as he was one of the former athletes trained by Steve Scott, the former American record holder in the mile. Under the new coaching of Chris Capeau, Cooper had a complete redesign in the way he performed his training. Prior to his new coach, he was running slowly with the distance runners who would do as many as 100 miles a week. But with the new coach, he would be dropping all the way down to 30 miles a week. Not only that, but his distance pace would be going somewhere from 10 minutes per mile all the way down to 7 minutes per mile, which also allowed him to implement more speed days throughout the week. And that sets us up to now discuss the specifics of Cooper's training. Each day, practice begins at 7 a.m. sharp. Beginning on Monday, Cooper would be doing a long run, followed by some running drills and core work. Then on Tuesday, it's either some fartlek training or a strength-based workout. Wednesday is then an easy run, and on Thursday and Friday, one day is dedicated to an easy run and the other a speed day. Saturday is usually another distance run, and then finally, he has Sunday off. On the workout days, some of the specific strength workouts Cooper has done include number 1, a 500 meter with 4 minutes rest, followed by 6x200, with the first two 200s being at 90 seconds rest, and then the others at 4 minutes rest, and then a 400 to finish it off. The second example is an 800 meter with 2 minutes rest, followed by a 6x200 with 2 minutes rest, and then a 600, and then finally 4 sets of 350s and 200s with 2 minutes rest each rep and 4 minutes between each set. After that, some of the more speed center work includes first 2x300s with 90 seconds rest, and then 4x150s all out, and then 2x200s. And then secondly, it's 3x400 meters, 3x300 meters, and 3x200 meters, with the 400 meters being paced at 2-mile pace, the 300 meters being at 1-mile pace, and the 200 at your 800 meter pace. This is then followed by a 1x250 and a 1x150, with those being at 400 meter pace. And then there's some real speed at the end of the workout, where Cooper does 5x80 meters. But to be clear, most of these workouts are not cut and dry speed or strength, which is very typical when you're training for the 800 meters, because it's generally the closest you get to a pure 50-50 anaerobic race. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, it's time to discuss some of the tactics Cooper uses when running. To start off, a very powerful method he uses for hitting PRs and reducing a lot of the pre-race anxiety is to arrive early at the track you later plan to compete at, and then once you get to the track, you're visualizing the entire race from the beginning to the end. This allows for you to mentally rehearse exactly how you'll start, what position you plan to maintain, what lane you'll run in, and really step by step how you're going to go through that entire race. Another tactic Cooper and his coach have followed is being simplistic through sticking to what works. as they may be hearing advice from other coaches talking about some new workout that people have been saying is the best. But if it doesn't click with them, if something feels off, it doesn't matter what people are saying, because it's all about how things apply to Cooper, how they can help him grow. This is why they've come out to say they haven't been doing things like double threshold or lactate testing, because it's not something they need, as their current system has led to consistent growth. And then finally, probably the most important factor in Cooper's speed today is his drive. His coach has said he'll do whatever it takes to maximize his potential. If that meant he had to do 80 miles a week, he'd do it. So if you want to perform at your best and continue to get faster, take some of his advice and commit fully to what makes you your best and give it your all. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.